Hello, guys.
What's happening?
What's going
I
on,
thought you were
bro?
talking to the viewers. I know you were talking to us.
I was talking to everybody.
Yeah,
the
good,
collective.
good,
That's who I was
good.
talking to. In life, never run from hard work, but avoid working hard at the wrong thing.
That's good.
Yeah, it is.
Hard work without gift capabilities is like, you remember the movie Rudy?
Yeah.
He worked extremely hard, but it was impossible for him to be great at that particular thing he was trying to do because he just didn't have the gifts.
Yeah.
You seen it out there, like it was kudos for trying, but it was, once in a lifetime that happens. That's why they made the movie Rudy, because that don't ever happen.
Yeah.
So that happened when you look at that, his gifts in that movie, he was just overmatched. He was just in a space that he could not compete. God didn't make his body to play football at that level at that time. And that's why, we talk about hard work, and hard work is a tool to get to success. It's not the only thing. I've always been a big believer in hard work, but placement of hard work now, being strategic in that manner, it brings peace, because we was talking about anxiety before we got on camera and the constant motion of chaos that we live in on a daily basis, being inundated with social media. I've always talked about this, Keegan, and on social media, in about 20 seconds, your emotions can jolt from one thing to the next. I'll give you an example. You can scroll up and you can see somebody getting married. That's an emotion. That's a jolt. You can then see somebody having a baby. Boom. That's another burst. And then you can see somebody who just got killed. That's a burst. These emotions that you're feeling, they're happening at the speed of light. And we're never stopping. We're constantly moving. Man. So, let's just slow down.
Amen.
We was talking about this today, man. Yeah. I encourage everybody to slow down. I know from my life personally, and you pick your time when to slow down. Everybody, some people are in pursuit of a immediate goal, an urgent goal that they've been working for. Not by all means, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you know you're running on fumes, if you know that you're just running on sheer will and grit, and you're running in a space that that's not causing you production, pipe back and slow down and get some more vision. I'm telling you, it works. Clarity is important, Keegan. Clarity is important. And sometimes you can't get clarity in chaos.
No, you can't get clarity in chaos, but you can find peace in chaos.
Come on, man.
So I think about, David, when he was running from Saul, and, the wilderness did him some good, and that cave did him some good.
Yeah. So
you can find peace in chaos because you have to figure out a way to think through, what you're about to do, and also just get comfortable sometimes. Because you can't control the storm.
Yeah.
Only how you react to it, right? But finding clarity in the chaos, that's a difficult chore. It really is. Yeah, so I agree with that
finding the meaning. And this is, in dealing with hard work and being strategic with it, because you can burn out, Keegan.
Yes.
Ivan, you can burn out.
Yeah,
Ivan,
absolutely.
you was 15 years in corporate America.
Yeah.
You was 15 years there, and the monotony, and I get it. There's a certain ambition in corporate America, a prestige that comes along with working hard and getting rewarded. That's great, don't get me wrong, but Ivan, I know that was it was tough when you get to that 9th and 10th year and you're trying to figure out, because ultimately, Ivan, you have a CEO's mindset, correct?
Yeah, and you kind of, obviously, I mean, you're following what you've been told or what's been written out or what's been guided, that if you continue to keep climbing that corporate ladder, you're going to get to exactly where you want to be. And when you realize that you've been climbing for so long and all you do is see other people that are less qualified be able to pass you, it's not only taxing on your mind, but now you start to question yourself if you're even the material that needs to be, or trying to get to the top. So yeah, it's very taxing, and it's one of those difficult things when being in a corporate setting.
Yeah, so. And Keegan, you have to measure your way to the top when you're going. it's a bumpy road not to, because there's scars when you're trying to climb the corporate ladder or even climb the business ladder or whatever you're trying to pursue. You have to be strategic on that climb because you don't want to burn out before you get to the top. Because, just the climb to success isn't enough. Sustained success in our community it has to be talked about, Keegan. A lot of us become successful. A lot of us achieve and get to monetary goals, but how do we start to create generational wealth without being famous, without, having this, but collectively coming together, Keegan?
Yeah. That was a question, right?
Question, statement, answer, whatever.
I've learned over the course of my career that the further you go up the corporate ladder, the less it becomes about your work ethic and your pedigree, and the more it becomes about politics and relationships, and where nepotism thrives, where favoritism thrives. And so that's where I said I had to get out of here because I knew I didn't have the right skill set to play in that particular space. I'm not going to be a politician in corporate America. Yeah. I don't have the connections to the folks who were in power to tap me and say, look, come get this particular role. So I knew that I hit my ceiling to where I just felt like I was suffocating as well. And I think when I got out of that and figured out that I can build my own asset and live the life I want to live, now it's about, okay, how do I want to go about doing it?
Yeah.
What's the pace I want to go about doing it? How do I want to build it? How do I want to set my
That's
foundation?
good.
And when you're building it from scratch, while it's a lot more work, there's a lot more freedom that comes along with it.
Absolutely.
Whether it's decision making or whether it's you control your time, that freedom is priceless. However, it does come with a certain level of output you got to put into the world to make sure it happens for you.
Yeah.
Because it's not free. While it's priceless, it's not free.
Yeah. And this is where the collective comes in at. This is where it comes into where we figure out strategically how do we work smarter and not harder. Mm-hmm. How we become more efficient. And I think it starts with this, man. I think it starts with the more we seek God through earthly achievements, we will miss the efficiency of our spiritual gifts that could have produced the desires in half the time.
That's good.
Imagine you starting or having the bandwidth to start where you starting now, Keegan. You wouldn't have to spend 15 to 20 to 12 to 30 years in corporate America to get up enough capital to go out. You would have had the capacity to do it because a lot of us don't put our purpose first. And it's in our community in particular been difficult to put our purpose first because, poverty is real. Economic challenges are real. And it's hard to start a business without capital. It's hard to do a lot of those things. So a lot of us had to go a different routes. A lot of us had to just go work the job. A lot of us couldn't live in our creativity and grow and get the time to mature and measure our gifts. Keegan, imagine you being able to do this from 15. Just not even this, being able to realize and have the space to being able to do it.
With operating your purpose.
Absolutely.
I think is what you're saying. Yeah, I feel you on that. If all things were equal and I didn't have to eat, right, and I can operate in that purpose without having to worry about the pressure of producing at a certain level to take care of myself, then that sounds great, and it's an idealistic approach. And one thing I'll respond to what you just said was, I agree with you in terms of doing it and had some if I was on point with God, but I also believe that I didn't have the spirit of stewardship that I needed to 15 years ago, which is why God didn't place me where I'm at right now 15 years ago. Now, if I would have been better positioned in how I manage his provision, I probably would have been put in that place 15 to 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
I just wasn't there at that particular point in my life. And so the time that I've actually yielded over the past 15 years, there are a lot of lessons in a lot of that time. It wasn't all wasted. There's a lot of lessons that I actually am now applying from corporate America into my own entrepreneurial endeavors. Another point I wanted to make about what you just said, too, I just forgot what it was, but I do agree with you in theory in terms of what you were saying about cutting out the time if you are truly in that God-man relationship. I do believe
and I think
have
you can,
something there.
and that's why I said it, because I believe you can do two things at once. I believe you can still work and you can still do this, but I believe in the growing your gift while you can still toil and take care and still grow your gift at the same time. But the gift got to be the main thing, in my opinion, in order to maximize and even maximize your wealth, I believe, in some term, because I think you can get the maximum out of your gift because that's what God created you to be.
And what I think the undertones or what you're leading to, what you're speaking of, is having a sense of family wealth. Because if you have a foundation of a wealth foundation, then you can automatically start growing in your purpose immediately.
Absolutely.
Because you don't have to worry about how will I sleep, how will I eat. You know, you won't worry about the things that it costs for you to actually, the price that you have to pay in order for you to gain the resources that's needed in order for you to be able to do the very thing that you're purposed at. So meaning like having a start that gives you a foundation that allows you to be able to make mistakes from the beginning.
Absolutely.
And then be able to, as you're making those mistakes from the beginning, you're able to cut that time in half, because there's a nest there, or there's a nest or a net there that can catch you if you were actually able to fall. And I think in the positioning, or I know for myself in my background, if I would have failed, there was no net to catch me.
Yeah.
I was falling on my behind and had to get back up and trying to do and start doing it all over again. And so not being afforded those opportunities to be able to make those mistakes in the beginning, yeah, it does cause it to be but a longer time frame. But to piggyback off of something that Keegan said, though, that time spent is not time wasted. Because
that's good.
One of the things that we also have to remember is there's seed, there's time,
and
then there's also harvest. And so the most important of those two things, because we know what happens when you put a seed in the ground, there's going to be a harvest. It's what you learn and what you do in that time that's the most important.
But that leaves scars, correct?
Absolutely.
And even the time's not wasted, it leaves scars. So I want to talk two approaches, Keegan: the Muhammad Ali approach and the Mayweather approach. You know, do you stand there on the ropes and struggle like we got this? Do you sit there and let life just beat you down, or do you just avoid getting hit by family wealth? There's a pathway. What I mean by that is that when Floyd fought, he avoided getting hit, so he came out better. So what Muhammad Ali achieved, Floyd achieved the same thing essentially, and did it without losing his faculties. You hear Floyd talk about it all the time. And although Floyd might be saying it for different reasons, I understand it, because look what happened to Muhammad Ali. Mm-hmm. Look at all the licks he took. And I think black folks for a long time, we've taken those scars, we've taken those hits, and we wore them as badges. Like, look, the scars make you, it makes you, but we now we can be more efficient with each other, I believe now. There's a better way, but that's why I talked about hard work, doing it the right way, because we can step back, look at things objectively, and maybe this might be a little bit idealistic too, but, you know, before something happens, you got to have an idea about it.
Absolutely.
You know, before something comes into motion, it has to have somebody got to put it into the atmosphere. So I just believe that, you know, as a culture, as a society, Keegan, we can start looking at different ways how we can, you know, free ourselves up, you know, versus just spending 18 hours building a business. Maybe we can all collectively, if you got a business, work with your business, figure out how to do it, you know, just.
And, you know, to the example that you gave, I honestly believe, well, for one, Mayweather didn't fight every fight that he could have fought when he could win.
He should have.
You know,
I ain't getting into all that.
But I'm just saying he did. And I love Mayweather. By the way, you're a great champ. I love Mayweather. Tuning in, you're one of the greatest. But at any rate, I think him being able to see what happened with Ali, being able to see what happened with Mike Tyson, being able to see what happened with Evander Holyfield.
That's good.
I believe that actually helped pave the way for him to make some better decisions. So essentially, they were mentors to him. And being able to have that mentor, even though they might have not been a direct mentor, being able to have that example gave him another road or give him a different perspective to be able to go down a different path to avoid having the exact same ending of a career.
Well, I also believe that there's more money in his time than there was back then. So it's kind of like it's a hard equivalency to make in that regard, as far as who did what and at what pace and time. And he's also just a different kind of boxer. You know, we talk about Floyd and how great he is. He's probably one of the best defensive boxers that we don't talk about in that.
He is the best. No, he is the best defensive fighter of all time.
Well, I mean, there's some good ones out there. But I'm saying the way he did it to be successful and at the rate he was successful.
Yeah.
We talk about Floyd's flashiness, but his real mechanism for winning is defense.
Oh,
absolutely, no
That's
question.
his real mechanism, right? He's not going to knock you out.
Yeah.
You know, that's his real mechanism is defense. So the one thing I say about, you're right about, how do we work together to, I think, lessen the scars that we experience or take on when we try to make these endeavors become reality? The one thing when I learned sort of my own business was, I don't necessarily need capital as a priority. I need clients.
That's good.
So I need black people to shop with me.
Come on.
That's what I need. Capital will be the byproduct of what
That's
you
good,
buy.
Keegan.
We're gonna get that. We're gonna get that. We're gonna get that in a minute though.
That's good.
Yeah.
I want you to lose that point because that's good.
Okay.
Because I want to talk about that when we talk about the shootings.
Gotcha.
And we start talking about how we
Gotcha.
You know.
Well, let me draw another point, because we talked this other night about, we talk about generational wealth. I think the biggest part to generational wealth is the person who starts got to be okay with not receiving the end result.
There you go. That's good.
That's good.
Now you talking.
That's good.
That's good, Keegan.
That's the first part, because I can tell you that we talked about family names. My last name is
Come
Wright,
on, Keegan.
right? Yes. My last name is given to my children. They're going to take it on to the next generation, right? But it's not a corporation.
Come on, Keegan.
Hunt.
Come on, Keegan.
That's a corporation.
Come on, Keegan. Rockefeller. Kennedy's. Come on, Keegan.
S.C. Johnson.
Come
family
on.
company.
Yes.
Rothschild.
Corporation, right? Johnson and Johnson.
Walmart. Oh my good.
These are family. These are now corporations. That's because the person that started it understood that he or she will not reap the ultimate benefit of what the name is going to become, and they were okay with that.
That's good, Keegan.
And they were okay with that.
Yeah.
Because
So this whole thing about
that's good,
One point I want to say is whole thing about getting the bag.
come on, Keegan.
I'm gonna forfeit the bag.
Come on, Keegan.
So my kids
You
can get
talking.
a vault.
That's it,
Yes.
Keegan.
That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
And Keegan, man, that's the spirit of what I was trying to get to, bro. That's it right there, bro. It's the sacrifice piece of it.
Yeah.
It's the vision, and you might be Moses in that vision.
No doubt.
You might not be Joshua.
Sometimes not going to the promised land. Hold on. How did Moses ascended, correct?
Yes.
He didn't die. So it wasn't as if he wasn't worthy of going into the promised land. He did the work to make sure that they could walk into the promised land. And I gosh, what's his name? The guy,
Get it out. Go ahead.
Dick, what's his name?
Gregory?
Yeah,
Dick Gregory?
Dick Gregory. We're just now starting to see some of the fruit of the things that he
Absolutely.
did.
Absolutely.
And so it's setting yourself up, just like Keegan said, for the rights to be a corporation. Keegan might not receive the biggest portion of that corporation today, but he knows that tomorrow that his children and his children's children and his children's children will be able to have an actual monument that sits on this planet. And I think that we get so caught up in gathering our own bags and running like Mr. McScrooge, Donald McScrooge, and being excited about being able to gather it, that we're not paying attention on being able to pass it.
Man.
Because we can't take any of these things with us.
We can't, man.
No, you can't.
It's none of these things come with us. And so if we worked harder to be able to leave a legacy instead of actually trying to work harder to trying to become a legend.
No question.
And
No question.
everything we do echoes in eternity.
Yes.
Everything we do, you gonna get the credit. You just may not be where you want. Do you want the decadence of the things? Is the things that capture you while you got to have the credit? Man, listen. Y'all, listen, bro. Family wealth. Getting with people who love you, and y'all, if you can be my friend and we can hang out and do everything and tell each other secrets, and you help me with my marriages, you help me with this, we can do something economically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we all know that's always the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
That's always the elephant in the room. That's always the stress point for people. It's always what people have to dream. It's always what people want to get out of it. But you know that if we can, what if we could just take the burden off each other?
One of the things we have to do is where we started at is we got to get out of the place of anxiety and fearing talking about wealth and money together as a collective, because nobody wants to let somebody else know what it is that they got or what they're doing. And so because of that, because, you know, and that could be shame, that could be disappointment, that could be, you know, it could be selfishness. It could be a number of things. But we have to start having that conversation, because I will tell you this, people that are doing some of the things that Keegan teaches, and y'all definitely need to make him y'all insurance agent. If you haven't done that yet, I don't know what you're doing. But some of the some of the things that Keegan teaches is these families have been doing this for centuries and being able to establish mega insurance. Let's talk about it. Rockefellers. That's how their family wealth even exists.
Absolutely.
And do you think they started having conversations with their kids when they were 21? No. They started reading them. They got it all the way down to family values that they've written. They have bylaws. And they started those bylaws and started training those children in the way that they should grow. When they get old, they wouldn't depart from it. See, they're using some of the things that we should be using, but we're too afraid to have that conversation. No question. We need to start that conversation with our children when they're fresh out the womb.
Yeah, and we have to measure our focus. You know, that's why I'm talking about running 100 miles per hour. Hard work feels good, but doing I'm telling you, doing it to the wrong thing, like even in relationships or whatever, friendships, it doesn't matter. You can work hard as you want, but if somebody else don't want to work hard, they're not gonna work hard.
Yeah,
they're not.
And you're not gonna change that either.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? Work hard at the thing that creates productivity in your life.
Yeah.
That you can produce and be a productive citizen in society, and then you feel better about yourself. That's why you always have to choose, in my opinion, your spiritual gifts. You can be measured, but choose them, because you can begin to find where you can go. You can begin to find where you can thrive, what you would do if no money was involved. And then once you do that, you position yourself like a tree planted by the rivers of the water, and the money comes to you. Money's attracted to the things that's not running after it. You keep building, and money will come.
That's my favorite one.
Keep building.
Psalms 1.
And you just got to keep building. And I'm in this thing, and I'm talking to you. I'm in the middle of what I'm talking about.
No question.
And just keep building. Just keep trying to do quality work. Just keep trying to get a little bit better. You know what I mean? Just get up off the ground. You know, I seen this tattoo. Was talking to this girl at the shop today. She had this tattoo. She said, "Cry standing up. Cry while you walking. Cry while you running. Just cry. Just go, move. Just don't stop." And that's the hardest thing, because that's where people get caught in their trauma or in their anxiety, is when you stop. Yeah, it was something flying there.
That was aggressive.
Don't try to act like you didn't see that.
No, it hit my head. It was aggressive, bro. I was like, yo, he just punched me.
It was on me earlier,
He just
too.
punched me. I
was like, man, you know.
I just got decked in the head.
I don't even know what I was talking about.
No, I'm with you, crossing it up, because I think sometimes, you said a while ago, a couple podcasts ago, you said, experience the full range of your emotions. We tend to want to either bury them or ignore them, but experience your emotions. Yeah. It's okay, right? Because what happens is you learn how to either deal with the thing that caused the emotion, or you learn how to use emotion for fuel. Keep it moving, but keep moving. Like, don't become immobilized by it. Don't get in that fetal position. Now, of course, you can stay in that space for a moment if you need to get your mind right, to get it out your system, right? Get your bucket of ice cream, go in the corner and cry. That's cool. But don't become immobilized by that, and don't make that the standard, right? But you have to, what you say, you have to experience the full range of your emotions to understand you're fully human.
Yeah, I mean,
you start to actually hide those parts of yourself. You're not experiencing your full humanity. That's another problem. They cause some emotional health issues.
Ivan,
That's good.
is there a ceiling on a man's emotional capital? Can a man freely in America, specifically a black man, express himself emotional? Is there a line? Like, can he do it? Do we have the range? Can I bust out crying? Can I go to the bar? Can I just start crying? And do I have the liberty? Do black men feel like they have the liberty? And is there a cap on our emotional availability in this society?
The ability is there, yes, absolutely. The ability is always there. Whether or not if the psyche to do so is different. Because society has shown us something different. When that little boy, the first time that he gets on his bike, he's out there riding, you take those wheels off, and he falls and he scrapes that knee. Dust that off, stop. You don't need to be doing that crying. Right? So that's one thing that he's taught to be able to hold in. No, when you feel pain, you cry. And I'm not telling you to whine, but when you feel pain, you will cry. But now somebody just told you to shut that door. So they put a layer on you. That's what I call them. And, if that little girl, as she's walking, she put on a little Sunday shoes, she's got on a little patent leathers, and as she's walking out the door, she falls and she scrape her knee. Mom, dad picks it up, brush it off, wipe it down with alcohol. Yeah. Oh my God, baby, it's okay. Kiss it, and they allow her to be free in that emotion. It's something that we've done to ourselves.
I think there's a truth in us, us being tough too as well. Like there's a balance in being tough in terms of being physically tough, being able to do some, manly things, I think. Mm-hmm. I think it's okay. But I think we never allowed the other part to us to be able to be vulnerable, to learn our emotions. It's just all the bravado, Keegan. All the just, machismo. That's all it was given. So, and little boys, it don't hurt that we just fight all the time. We young, we fight and we boisterous. So, that's our nature, is to take pain physically, because we are bigger physically, and obviously a little girl is smaller, so she's a little more delicate, but I understand both sides. But Keegan, do we have the bandwidth to really, do you think black men feel comfortable in society, really truly expressing themselves?
Feel comfortable? Oh no. That's why we don't do it.
Oh no.
That's why we don't.
No. Oh no.
That's why we don't do it. I would say, we also conflate, the physicality of a man with the emotional side of the man. So just because I can take a punch physically, don't mean I can take heartbreak the same way.
That's good, Keegan.
And we force the man to do that. Now, the woman can express her displeasure with pain physically and emotionally, no matter where she's at. But a man, because I can take a punch physically, I got to take heartbreak and betrayal and trauma the same way. And that's the problem that we have. And if you don't get that, but I would tell the black men like this: stop waiting for other people to give you permission.
Come on.
That's good, Keegan.
Come on.
Keegan, that's
your
good.
Unresolved trauma. Take control of what's going on in your life, because you got some stuff that happened in the past that's still manifesting today, and you think it's because of what happened to you an hour ago. No, that seed was planted 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's been unresolved. That's when things happen to you exterior to your being. It causes you to do things you're like, why did I react that way? Why is my behavior like this? And ain't because of what just happened. Something that happened 5 years ago you have not addressed. You got to get underneath that. And that's where professional help through therapy comes into play, because it helps you self-discover. It helps you dig up those old roots and figure out what's going on there.
Because it's easy to tell a man that he's not being a man when he hasn't been allowed to be a man.
That's a fact.
Because before he's man, he's
That's
human.
good.
And we want to quiet down those outbursts. Mm-hmm. But if that outburst is something, okay, do we go and we put dirt on top of volcanoes to keep them from bursting?
No.
No, because the burst, it had to come up. There's so much lava that's building up in the inside of the earth. It had to come up and out. So sometimes that has to come up and out.
No, but you know what brings the lava to the surface?
Come on.
You know what creates earthquakes? It's called pressure.
Yeah.
Keep making men bury emotions.
And
that
so,
pressure builds up.
And so what would
And
that
pressure
actually,
bust pipes.
And
right,
bust pipes.
exactly. So what happens now, technically, if you're telling somebody to suppress that, now when we see, why does black men not have the same lifespan as black women?
Amen. Amen.
What do you think hearts just stop just because? No. There's something that's going on inside. We're Earth, right?
Yeah.
That's good, Ivan.
We're Earth, right? And so those things have to be able to come out. And so we have to get out of the place of not allowing space for real, true emotions to be experienced. And I'm not just talking about just the ones of anger. I'm talking about excitement. I'm talking about love and pain.
Absolutely.
Because how will you ever be able to be good in a relationship at all if you don't even know how to manage your own emotions first?
Yeah.
Man, that's
Or if
good.
you keep bringing unresolved trauma into a relationship.
Absolutely.
And then you wonder why you're behaving in a way with a person that has nothing to do with them. They're wondering as well. Hell, you don't know where it even came from. So as you start questioning yourself, like, now you start thinking this right here. I might have a mental illness. We talked about this today in the barbershop. There is a difference between mental illness and emotional illness.
Yeah.
They're two different things. Now, they can overlap through genetics, but they're two different things. And when I talk about emotional health, I'm talking about those traumas that are deep-seated in us, that comes from our environment and our experiences, that manifest in some very negative ways in the future if you don't ever deal with them at some point in time in your life before they become eruptions.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So we got to get better. I'm telling black men, do not wait for somebody to give you permission to deal with your shit. Excuse me. I'm sorry, Mama Talbot. Get in control of your own stuff, because if you don't, you're going to start behaving in a way in the future and doing things in the future with other people that ain't got nothing to do with your unresolved trauma. You wonder why I can't maintain a relationship,
Man.
or why I can't keep a friendship, or why I can't thrive in what I want to thrive in for my purpose, because I'm dealing with trauma.
Yeah. And you know, Keegan, you bring up such a great point, and it's great conversation, because sometimes people just go and they just say, nah, that's just who I am. No, it's not.
No, it's
Come
not.
on, Ivan. That's
That's
good.
not who you are.
True.
That's not who you are. That's not who you were created to be. That's who you became.
Yep.
You only become something by learned behavior. That's not, because when you were a child, when you were an infant, when you were hungry, you let them know, hey,
start
give me
crying.
a bottle. You didn't just okay, I'm just gonna hold these hunger pains in.
Yeah.
And so that's not who you are. That's who you became. And how do you become something different is learned behavior. So what do you have to do now? You've got to learn new behaviors and stop. Like Keegan said, you can't wait for somebody else to tell you, hey, it's okay for you to do that. Because as long as you wait for permission, you're just waiting. You'll be hurrying up and waiting for
Well,
the
you
rest of
actually
your life.
giving somebody else power over your life.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for somebody to tell me, hey, can I go? It's more or less like, boss, can I go to the bathroom? Like, nah, take control of your own life because you have an issue, right? And something you said earlier about physical health. This is purely anecdotal, my opinion. I got no facts right now to support this particular opinion, but I believe it to be true.
You should be working on CNN.
Well, let's work on that.
Because you be giving disclaimers like a mug. Somebody do this disclaimer king.
I am an insurance
And then it
guy.
was straight up. It was like a contract. Now, keep in mind now. Go ahead.
You bugging. But
Nah, go ahead.
But what I would tell you is, we've been told that diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular issues are genetic in our culture. But for some reason, our grandmothers and our grandfathers and our great-grandparents was using lard, fat back,
Come on, Keegan.
to eat certain food.
Come on,
never
Keegan.
had an issue, right? What I would tell you is, what's in the food supply right now, coupled with pure stress, in my opinion, is creating these physical issues for us.
Absolutely.
Which is why a black man can't live as long as another person in this country.
And that's another thing.
We had
too.
the shortest lifespan in this country than any other people group.
And here's the accountability.
Women, black women, white women, whatever it might be.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
cut you off.
You good.
Here's the accountability part. We got to get healthy.
We do.
Absolutely.
Let's just go ahead and
We do.
we got to get healthy.
We do.
I ain't talking to we got, that's one of the reasons I slow down and stop. My daddy passed away at 66 years old.
I'm telling you, believe it or not, that's young.
Yeah, that's super young.
Believe it or not, that's young.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In the impact, and it could have been avoided. Maybe no, maybe so, maybe it was the time, maybe not. There were some things that I'm gonna take a different step. I'm gonna try to avoid what he did. He sometimes we can leave unintended examples.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
And now some of the things he left with me, I have to break. I have to consciously break, because in order to see, now I'm conscious of it. So now I know I got to break it. And that's what we were talking about earlier. We can do a little bit better. Yeah. Muhammad Ali, Floyd seen Muhammad Ali, so he did a little bit better. So now what I'm saying is we got to do a little bit better.
No question.
Yeah.
That's what it is all about. It's about, okay, let's turn our ideas into reality.
Yeah.
Look, like now, man, come on, all of us we got similar stories in terms of just working and achieving in corporate America. And man, we hit a stop.
Yeah.
We hit a wall.
You're right.
It wasn't even about not being able to do it. It was like, this is life or death for me. I have to take this road because it's going to lead to purpose. It might be bumpy. I may not see the way, because that's one of the greatest things in corporate America is there's a clear path. You may not be able to travel that to the path, but you can see the path. There's there's no conjecture. There's no fogginess. It's pretty much what it is. But when you're building and when you're living life, because life is much complicated than a 9 to 5. Because when you get freedom, is not free. You have to really, really, it ain't just about the money. Think about it. You got to figure out, who are you? When you find out freedom, you have to find out, who are you?
Oh yeah, you had to build everything yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was. You didn't walk in, someone's built. You got to build it all yourself, right? Which is not a bad thing, but it is a thing.
Yeah.
But before we get to, the main subjects, I want to make a little lighter note, but not a little lighter note, but a celebratory.
I don't like where this is going.
Speaking of building up, everybody who knows me knows who I'm a fan of, and my guy, Mr. Zion Williamson, just signed his 5-year rookie max extension. So we locked in. Yes, sir. We are locked in, Ivan. Listen, I want to be clear. Y'all try to get on me for talking crazy on here as well. Listen, what you're about to witness, what you're about to see, is the most unique, the most fascinating talent you have ever witnessed in your life. What you're about to see is what we seen in the 90s with Michael Jordan and the Bulls, the electricity. I'm not talking about him being greater. I'm not talking about him winning championships. I'm talking about the electricity that people feel. Zion has a magnetism that no basketball player in the NBA has right now, and that's including LeBron James. LeBron James is just talked about a lot right now for the wrong other things other than basketball. What are you doing here, there? So it's more like a circus, but people just want to see Zion play basketball. Guys, I'm telling you right here and now, this will be historicals. If the injury gods don't step in for the next 12 years, Zion will give you a gift that you hadn't had since Michael Jordan. You heard me say it here first. This will be a real. This keep sharing this. I'm telling you, Zion Williamson will be the most fascinating athlete to ever play sports.
Is he going to design a sneaker better?
Sneakers won't be the thing of the future. It's other things. Zion will dive more into video game. He in like the Dragon Ball Z, and like the kids are in different things now. So the sneaker, it's evolved past sneakers. Everything's kind of digital now, and what like some of the athletes dive in now.
I think Zion should owe you some money.
Yeah,
you were his. I'm
a stand.
You were his best marketing.
I'm a stand.
Ever.
I mean, you clearly.
And let me tell you why I'm always gonna be a stand. So, Josh Childs, he my guy. He coached at Greenwood Christian. We from South Carolina. I'm from Greenwood. Zion, he played in Spartanburg Day. And in 2016, he called me and he was like, Steve, Josh. He said, Steve, I think I just seen the best basketball player I ever seen in my life. Cause that's what people seen Zion like playing against the little white boys in school. So that was one of the teams. So he was like, bro, you can come. I'm gonna give you a ticket. We're gonna play them tonight. I'm telling you, come. And I was near there, and I was like, everybody say that. Everybody say he was like the best I've ever seen. And bruh, Zion got to, I think it was when he got to Duke. When I don't know, yeah, it was at Duke. He played Kentucky. It was it. I've never seen anything like that. I don't. When it comes to sports, I don't let my eyes lie to me no more. I don't let them lie to me. And he's historically good. I don't know because of his injuries, his weight, and just I can't tell the future. But if he continues in this trajectory and he gets healthy and he does the right things, it's over with.
So do you think that the Pelicans made the best decision by signing that max deal?
You had to.
Yes.
You had no choice.
Yes.
Who's going to come? What are you going to do?
Business wise,
Yeah.
you lock them in because what you're getting right now is about 70 cents in the dollar of value. Mm-hmm. That's why you lock them in.
Because automatically your seats will be filled everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go.
Because you're going to see in the 5 years who's going to be really worth at that particular point.
Right.
Yeah.
And so will your seats be filled?
Well,
Yes.
you got to take that chance because if you don't do it and it turns out that'll be a colossal mistake.
Well,
because you can't attract anybody.
Yeah, but Ivan, let's be clear. When healthy,
he's historically good.
He's built by God or somebody, when healthy.
Is. I would encourage anybody, do me a favor. If you get an opportunity to get some time, go to YouTube and type in Zion Williamson Duke highlights. It's 38 minutes. And if you watch it all the way through, you'll be like, oh my God. I don't care who you are, just go watch it. Just go watch it. But anyway.
When healthy.
Watch it.
I mean, when healthy he's different. And when you think about what's around him now.
Oh, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram. Oh my God. Herb and here's the thing, guys, we have another core in the league. Herb Jones. Remember that name, Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado. Listen, they got a squad, bro.
Yeah, they got something to reckon with in the Western Conference if he's healthy, and in shape.
So
there's a lot of ifs.
Yeah,
right.
If. So I'm the president of the Zion Williamson Fans Club. So everybody knows that. I don't even hide it anymore.
Yeah,
I don't. I love beautiful.
We'll see what he loves.
Yeah,
because if he loves it, Well, hold on. I want him to be fully healthy. Because I don't want to see his career get cheated.
Yeah, man. And I don't want the fans to get cheated, man. Because everybody remembers that too. Man, listen, I've been a Tar Heel fan since I can remember. Everybody knows that. I've been a Tar Heel fan, but in 2019, I turned on the Tar Heels and only watched Duke. I've never done that. That is a sin to do that. It is.
No, that's
go to Raleigh. Go anywhere.
Bro,
that's a sin. You can switch like NC State and North Carolina.
Right.
But North Carolina and Duke, there's a hard line.
Yeah.
That was one of my interview questions when I went to work at the Nationwide Insurance. That was one of my interview questions.
Oh, really?
Because we were stationed up in Raleigh. They was like, okay, are you Carolina Blue or are you Duke Blue? And I was like, I'm a Big East guy. I don't watch the ACC like that. I couldn't answer the question, but they asked me a question anyway. I was like,
wow,
really?
That's wow.
You don't watch ACC basketball?
I started watching it then because I was
Remind me not to ever take none of your takes.
Yeah. See how you do? See how you do? But they serious. It's a cult up there. Like, the only thing I can compare Duke and UNC to is Ohio State, Michigan football.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I can compare it to.
That's it. Unbelievable.
Ohio State's truly a cult. That's a religion up there in Ohio. It's different. It's different.
But yeah. So my guy Z, hopefully he do his thing.
Yeah.
But
congratulations on the contract.
Absolutely, man.
Congratulations on the contract. I mean, I just don't want him to get cheated. I wouldn't like the fans to get cheated. I want him to be able to be fully healthy, and I want him to, if he has to, stop eating some cheeseburgers and pizza.
Because there's two components, Ivan, right?
Yeah.
There's health, have you healed?
Right.
And there's weight management.
Yes.
Right. So there's two things you got to take a look at. So not only is he healthy from a healing perspective, professionally speaking, take your craft seriously.
Absolutely.
Because when healthy, there ain't nothing like him in the NBA.
Yeah. And
that's a fact. Now, I'm not a fan, but I can admit that.
Yeah.
I can admit that.
You're not a fan?
No.
Oh, God. Wait, listen. There's always room.
I know.
There is room.
But see, you hop on different bandwagons based on
I
the
don't hop on.
season.
I've never switched this bandwagon. I'm a ride. If Zion bust, I'm a ride with him. All right, if he bust, I'm with him. I'm already fully committed. All my people know this. This ain't like no secret. But listen though, bro, I'm excited. Like, listen, bro, that's one of the pleasures I'm looking forward to is watching him play basketball.
Yeah.
For me, because basketball is my favorite sport. I played football and I was great at football, but basketball is my first love. Period. Point and blank. Because I watched Michael Jordan, and that's why I be telling y'all. That's why when we have this argument, I always talk about. I went to see Michael Jordan. I looked actually the game when he played Atlanta. They showed it on The Last Dance over the balcony. We got some tickets at our church, and we got a chance to see Michael Jordan walk out for a second. That's how crazy his buzz was. Yeah. We just went to the game to see him for a glimpse, bro. Nah, he was really Black Jesus back then, bro. No cap, he was.
That's what Reggie Miller called him.
Michael, that's what I'm saying. I think Zion got the appeal if all things go well, but life don't always go like it's planned, and that's the unfortunate part, man. And that's why it takes a collective effort, instead of being a stumbling block, like you talked about the weight component, even if he's doing that, we got to stand up, and when people doing that online to him, people got to stand up and take that serious. Like, now you pass this, I can see talk about basketball. Now you doing all the fat shaming. You know what I mean? I ain't here to defend him on that. I'm just talking about the bigger subject. When you have
you should defend him if he's going against that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's ridiculous.
That's not cool.
Absolutely.
Not cool.
And then so that affects people in different ways, and we gotta guard our gifted.
Yeah.
We gotta stop being jealous and guard our gifted.
Absolutely.
If somebody around you is supremely gifted, help build them up, because their gift will make room for you to receive what you need to receive. Mm-hmm. Like if you you just gotta a part of building family wealth and building what we're talking about is building the nucleus. Yeah. It's understanding positions. Be a star in your role. Mm-hmm. What is your position? What do you do well? Stop doing well at doing other people.
Yeah.
You ain't never gonna do good at that.
Right.
You're gonna fail over and over again.
Yeah. That's a fact. That's a real fact. Speaking
of that, man, this is a hell of a pod tonight. Man, I appreciate y'all, man. But, on to a more, one of our topics. Jalen Walker and Bobby Cremo were two guys involved in one in a mass shooting and the other one 60 shots let off. Traffic stop. And the difference between it, one was targeted for a traffic violation. One murdered 6. Now, if I told you that, Keegan, you don't know which one is black and white, do you? I mean, we know, but if I didn't tell you and it was just a chart,
society would say,
which one would you shoot down? Which one would be the immediate threat? The traffic violation running away from you, or the one who just murdered 6 people? Which one is the threat? I just want to know.
I mean, the one that committed a mass murder, he actually has a weapon.
Oh. But guess what? Here's the twist. Guess who's living? And guess who's dead?
When are we going to get out of this society when our skin tone is no longer the weapon? Because apparently that's the weapon.
A weapon that didn't even want to harm you because it ran away from you. 60 shots. 60 shots.
6-0. Not 6. Not 16. 6-0. How many clips?
I didn't look at the clip. I couldn't watch it. And I couldn't watch it because it breeds fear. I even talked about this on our chat.
It's traumatic.
It is, and I'm tired of seeing the fear mongering that it jolts us and it drives, especially we talking about black men, when you see yourself, because I don't see myself different than him, because that could see, we talk about what happens, Keegan, when you don't get to express yourself. You do what? You explode, and sometimes you don't always explode at the right moment.
Facts.
But you don't get to. Black men don't get an opportunity to explode and live. We get to die because I'm running away from you. You're not arresting me today. I'm running away from you. We don't get the leniency. So I'm a threat. I'm driving away from you, but I'm still a threat. How? We don't get to explode and live. See, this is what we're talking about tonight. Us not having the bandwidth. But he just murdered 6 people. Murdered 6 people, 6 families.
And 30 injured.
30 injured. Because of a cause. Because you radicalized. Because you're saving your species. Let's be honest. We're going to talk. If we're going to be honest.
It's when I think about this guy, and I don't want to think about him, but you kind of have to now, because he's in your peripheral and he's in your direct face. This kid clearly has issues, and I don't mean mental health issues. I don't want to go into that conversation because they're going to use that as a narrative. But he has attempted suicide in the past and stuff like that. I really want to talk about law enforcement and not him.
Absolutely.
Because the point you brought up was Jalen Walker was running away from the cops. Why? Because he feared the cops.
Come on.
Pure.
Come on.
He fears the cops.
Come on, Keegan.
Because he believes in his mind they was going to do to him what they actually did to him.
So he was right.
I think that's what we're missing this whole thing about Jalen Walker. He ran away from them because he feared them.
And they delivered.
And they delivered on that particular fear. Right? And then you want to sit here and say things like, well, we saw him pull something from his waistband that we thought was a gun. So now this is your get out of jail free card. 2 things. One is I can say that happened just by my shooting. And 2,
come on,
I ain't the only one that shot.
That's the point right there.
I ain't the only one that shot.
Plausible
deniability. Before, when only one cop shot, they asked other people, well, why didn't y'all shoot? Why did he only shoot? What was his problem? But now we're going to all empty our clips, right? Because at some point in time, he was dead. So the rest of the shots is unnecessary. We're going to all empty our clips. So he ran away because he feared what actually just happened. But this other guy, when you capture him, he actually has an assault rifle on his person.
Strapped to him.
And he gets put in platinum bracelets and hauled down to the precinct to get questioned. So I'm going to let CNN, I'm going to let MSNBC and Fox News and the court of public opinion and the judicial system talk about this man's guilt. I want to talk about law enforcement. Because to me, that's a pretty clear indicator that we have a problem in our legal system.
Or we could take it a step further. We could talk about law enforcement. We can talk about what we're going to do. Because at some point, because obviously the cops, they're not prepared to stop. They're not going to stop. Mm-hmm. Why would you stop? You got a 98% rate of people not going to jail. Those percentages are pretty good.
Yes.
Wouldn't you take those odds if you had a 98% chance?
98%.
And think about it. Old boy just got 21 years today. Another 21 years where he should have got life. It shouldn't even been a question. But he got 21, so he got 40 years. What's his name that killed George Floyd?
I forgot the dude's name. I really don't want to remember it.
He would have got away if it wasn't on film. My point is, he would have walked away if he wouldn't have been arrogant, if he wouldn't have been pompous, if he sat up there and looked at the camera And that's why he's in jail. And because he set out a world riot. And it took a world riot in a pandemic to ensure Derek Chauvin got arrested.
Yeah, it took you to have a 9-minute film on what he did. Literally, you had to have a little movie to justify that he was in the wrong, right? Again, we can talk about what we're going to do, but if the apparatus is this corrupt, what can we do against an apparatus this corrupt? I don't get that, because think about this for a second. Jalen Walker happened in a completely different state than Robert Crimo. So law enforcement is operating a certain level of thinking in different states. It's an apparatus problem. It ain't just one police precinct. George Floyd happened in a completely different state than where it's at. This is an apparatus problem. It's systemic. I think for us, I think as a father, I hate to pass down trauma to my children, but I had to talk with Cole about what do you do when you get pulled over by a police officer, day and night. And while I'm giving him a survival tactic, I'm also giving him a spirit of fear.
Yeah.
And I hate that. But I have to.
Yeah, because it comes in the package.
Because I have to get him home. I got to get him home, right? So that we can start there about what do we tell our children to do when they get pulled over by the cops, right? That's one. That's not me passing or putting blame on what Jalen Wallen did, because he did nothing wrong in my opinion. That's not me doing that. But I am saying that I got to give my kid the tools to operate a certain way to get home. That's one. I think another piece is who controls the police precinct in your local jurisdiction?
Yes.
You got to know how that functions.
Yes.
Do they report to the city manager? Do they report to the mayor? How does that work? In our particular city of Charlotte and in Concord, they report to the city manager.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to figure out how do you impact those particular seats? Whether it be voting, whether it be pressure, whether it be whatever. Figure out how you address those individuals. And then you got to take it to the ballot box. I believe in that as well. But I believe us banding together to figure out how do we use our dollar bill as a tool to impact society in the way you're going to start listening to us.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that, because right now I do not trust you to handle the situation.
Yeah.
Because it's an apparatus issue.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We have to start infiltrating industries strategically.
Yes.
When we get positions, we strategically hire who we hire the ones that fit our mold and agenda to make it more diversified to where it fits us, to where we have a percentage of control to what happens. We have to build corporations. We have to build all, Keegan, in my opinion, we build these things, Keegan, to have control, because we're going to need them to fight the apparatus you're talking about, because that runs deep. The police runs deep. And they are not afraid to be the police, because it seems like they just police us and they're protectors for the other community.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ivan.
And we see this particular movie over and over and over and over again. At some point in time, somebody's got to start taking a fault for this. If not our federal government, our local government, we've got to be so outraged that we're willing to say, hey, you can't do this no more. Because
hold on for a second.
That rain,
like we don't hear the rain. Because we've been doing that for about 2 minutes. I'm just going to sit here like, so we're not going to act like we don't hear this rain.
Trying to ignore it.
Like, is my costing like this? Y'all costing? Bro, this rain, wow.
I told you what I was, bro, this is what it was doing.
And
Yo,
you know
that's
what?
crazy.
I left my truck bed up, so I got to put the chairs in back of that, man.
You pissed?
I'm hot. I'm hot.
Tim, is it gonna? You don't know, but yo, I was looking at Keegan when he was talking. I was like, okay, Keegan, I know you're here.
Oh, I heard it. But I was trying to ignore it for thinking of people looking at me in this video, right?
Because it was like, because everything you was saying was like, and I just listened to it.
Well, hopefully it came through in the mic if you didn't understand.
If not, people will be able to hear the rain, and there's nothing like, the rain is beautiful, man. You know, and sometimes, dealing with the rain, storm don't last forever.
Yeah.
And that's what we got to keep pressing on.
Maybe we want to pick this topic up in the next podcast. 'Cause I think it's a lot of meat on it.
It is. Because it'll be more developments that comes out of it. But I wanted to introduce, because there's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different layers to these. And, as we measure our thoughts more, as we let it unfold, and I think that's a part of what we talked about tonight. Yeah. Being measured in your approach, Keegan. Yeah. We talk about that so much, but it's so hard, but you get so much out of it. You get wisdom out of it. You get understanding out of it. Mm-hmm. You get to learn about yourself. You get to learn who you are. You get to learn how to manage pain without putting everything in your body. You get to, grow and keep growing. And, growth hurts.
Yeah.
I just want to say this one thing. Can we not be to the point where you're so blue that you can't be outraged? Because I know somebody has to be outraged that's part of that police force. There's no way that you can't be outraged that you watched multiple mass murders over the last decade go to prison and see hundreds of black unarmed male and females murdered.
But you said blue, and you got to understand everything is about environment. Your environment shapes your ideals, who you are. So it doesn't matter the faces that come through the police department. When they put on the shield represents an idea, and you are on the menu of that idea. Even if you're a black cop, even if you don't see it that way, there's a lot of cops that I can imagine come in well-meaning, but it's the culture, and that's what Keegan talk about. Mm-hmm. This is system. They have built a system, a culture, a spirit of what the cops supposed to represent, and it's strong. It don't matter who the police commissioner.
I believe that, but I believe that there's some outrage. I believe that you have somebody in city council that's outraged. I believe you have mayors that are outraged. At some point in time, they've got to allow that outrage to make a change. Because, again, you just stated something. All of these things happen in different cities and states. So it's not that we have a problem in the South, because Buffalo is where the mass shooting took place. It's not that we have a problem out west. It's that we have a
God
problem.
must don't like you talking. I'll be honest with you. Every time you talk, it still start raining real hard. But when I talk, they kind of get quiet. So I thank God when I should go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But it's a universal. It's an America problem.
Absolutely.
It starts with local, right? But it's an America problem.
Absolutely.
And I just can't imagine. I don't care how blue you are. You have there is somebody that's extremely outraged that they continue to see this.
But their outrage does not outpace what they put at risk by speaking up.
And that's
and right, wrong, going different. Right, wrong, going different. That's one of the challenges. Ask somebody who's on the inside to actually help us with this. That's where it becomes a challenge for them. I'm with you on that. But when you got to think about, okay, if I speak up, we get a call to go to a shootout over in some kind of area of the city, and I go with my squad, and I'm not the tail. I got somebody behind me. What makes me not think that because I spoke about dude doing something bad, I won't get popped in the back of my head and go call it a friendly accident fire, or friendly fire was an accident. That's how extremely bad it is in that particular apparatus. That you can get killed.
It's a cult.
While
It's
you're
almost
out
a
on
cult.
the street. But think about this, Ivan, for a second. We train society to look at black people a certain way since the birth of a nation came out, right? We talk about us being rapists, us being criminals from way back in the day, right? You train society, wow.
Yo, just let that go right there. Oh my goodness, I don't think I've.
This is real.
This weather been crazy.
I
This is
told
real.
you how bad it was. Y'all thought I was joking, dog. Hey,
No.
yo, I told you it was crazy.
This is real.
Yo, this is wild.
This is real.
Bro, I told you it was like somebody said, bro, it's like
Bruh.
60-mile winds.
God crying.
Yeah, he upset.
God mad.
He upset about Jalen Walker.
But because we down here acting a fool.
Yeah.
We
Jalen Wheeler.
down here
A hot
acting a
garbage
fool.
fool.
We acting a fool
We
towards
are.
each other. And that's what it's all about, man. These are basic human things that we're having to go over. And kindness and treating somebody right is innate. It's in you. You can do that. You can do that. We just treat each other any type of way. I see why God crying right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think but the issue I was trying to make is they train society to think about you a certain way. I've seen it over and over and over and over for the sole purpose of giving them superiority. They train cops the same way and tell them on, this is how you protect yourself, because they are criminals. They train society first, train cops second to actually do it in a way that's going to be just to make them predators, if you will. So you're talking about a psychology. This ain't fandom about Zion Williamson. Because I'm quite sure Zion can do some things and make you say, you know what, I can't rock with Zion no more.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing that can be done to untrain police officers from what they've been put in their brain.
So are we dealing with? It sounds like they've been brainwashed to be robotic to specific things.
Yeah, because killing off black people have been a strategy since slavery for different reasons, right? It's all part of a particular strategy, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And you can link it to abortion if you want to go there.
And I think it's more so mental castration as well. You know, to strip us mentally. That's why, we talked about in the Great Debaters when Denzel was talking about the Willie Lynch method.
Mm.
It's the same thing. What they did, they put him out on the screen. They put him up for the world to see them execute that boy.
Take the biggest, baddest
Tether.
nigga. Beat him to an inch of his life. Strip him of his clothes. Tie him to horses. Like, how the savagery you have to have in your mind to think about doing that to another person. This is what you're dealing with. You're not going to reason with a person like that who sees you in that particular. You don't reason with something like that.
The worst part of crucifixion is the public humiliation.
Yes.
Crucifixion is not for the person dying; it's for the people watching.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
that's facts.
It goes back to where we started at. It's planting that seed of doubt or fear so that you can just be anxious to walk on eggshells because you're going to walk that line. You're either going to walk that line or you're going to lay on the other side of it. That's just kind of how they, and I really feel like, just like Keegan said, it almost strategic to continue to keep doing it. And then the fact, how does something like that gets televised, or how does something like that gets recorded, but we can never see some of these recordings when occasionally when they tossing stuff in people's cars. we don't get those. Those can't be released to the public.
You want to know why? Because when you plant coke or a weapon in somebody's car, you know that's illegal. You're not going to record that. But you've been taught that killing this black man, it's okay. They have license to do so.
And
So they have no problem with recording now on the body cam.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, and just wrapping up, man, like, becoming advocates for our culture is more important than ever.
I agree.
We're so inundated in individualism. I think that an image and our flesh and pleasing out, we're forgetting about that we can have all of these desires as a collective, and you don't carry that much luggage. Working smarter, not harder. It may take a little bit more time, but I believe the rewards are your peace, Keegan.
Yeah.
Your rewards are you living a full life, being able to travel and see the world. That opens up your perspective, and then you're able to see where your gift can take you because you've allowed your mind to see different things and take in different ideas. You don't have to accept every idea that is presented to you.
Yeah.
But if you never see it, you don't know if you can connect with it.
Yeah.
True.
You don't know if it's something for you, something that can drive you to a different space to be the best version of yourself. Because isn't that the reason we're here?
Yeah.
I do God's will when I'm the best version of myself. I do God's will when I'm the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're operating and you're living in the purpose that He created you for.
Right.
That won't be perfect. You're going to take missteps. You need the whole experience to have a complete body of work. You need the whole experience. It's for people to see you and for your life to matter years and years and years and years to come.
No question.
Man, this was the Rain podcast, bro. Like, I hope we got the sound. Tim, you better get the sound.
I mean, we got the mics though. I think the mics.
Yeah, I think the mic's going to sound though, man. But this was beautiful, bro.
But I wonder because it became a distraction. So I'm wondering if you don't cut off the last part and
No, we ain't
save
cut nothing.
that. Well, if you can't hear it, because it distracted. I know it distracted me. I couldn't even talk like I wanted to talk. To be honest with you.
Well,
I mean,
God was just probably telling y'all to shut up.
It's possible.
At some point in time,
Maybe cops control the rain.
It literally sounded like a picture was being poured.
Nah,
on
that's
top.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy, bro. And
I wanted to talk about what do we start doing, like because we got to start because sit here and wait for them to fix it. That's not gonna happen.
No,
No,
and
absolutely
I think this is a call to action, and I do want to start talking about that and building on. Let's keep building. Next week, let's build on this conversation. And it's important, man. We start figuring out ways with the help of the audience, with the help of people, how we can be better community activists. You know, everybody can participate in it. It doesn't need one heroic person going out and doing it. It's just us.
It's gonna take a village.
It's just a village, and it's just let's get back to the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Let's get back to family. Let's get back to the things that we know that can ground us to where we can be the best version of ourselves and operate on an optimal level, man. This has been the rainiest episode ever. But go to YouTube and subscribe, and go to Instagram, The Deep Surface Pod on both. You guys have a wonderful day.
Peace.
We out.
All right.